Yeah, I don't know what the serve is. I really, I have no idea, no clue what the serve is. So hello everybody, welcome back to another video on my channel, in which today we will be watching the match between Alexis Lebrun and Zhendong at the WTT tournament in Macau. Even though it was already a couple of months ago, I think it's quite an interesting match to see, because I mean, obviously Alexis, he won the match by a very close margin, but it shows how a different playing style could be effective against top Chinese players such as Fan Zhendong. Obviously, watching the whole match and reviewing the whole match will be a bit too long, so I'm just going to take out some key points and things which I find interesting on both sides. Not only from Lebrun, but also things that Fan Zhendong does well or could have improved upon in this match. So let's just start the match. So obviously, which is very typical to Lebrun, it's just like almost every serve is different. There's never one time where he plays the same serve twice, which is so difficult for the opponent to react upon, because I would be convinced that not all of his serves, if you take them from an individual point of view, that they're good or that they're of the absolute highest level. I think individually each serve is not great, but if you combine them, then it becomes an incredible weapon, and it is, yeah, it just falls right into the playing style and the strategy of Alexis. Also, which I find quite remarking, is if you take a look at the backhand technique of Alexis, watch how much on the second backhand, how much he fell behind, how he pushes his butt back, which is something all your coaches, they advise you against this, because you lose control of the ball, you touch the ball too much in front of you, and therefore a lot of times it goes in the net or it goes out, in which this case it also happened to go out. You see the second ball over there. I'll show you one more time and I'll stop right here. If you compare the stance of Fan Zhendong with that of Alexis Lebrun, you notice how much more Alexis is leaning forward. And oftentimes for him it works, which is quite surprising to me. I think you should also pay attention to the way Alexis oftentimes plays diagonally, and I don't think there is as much variation as there can be. If you compare the rallies in his game compared to, let's say, Timo Boll or Truls Morregard, they change directions way more often than Alexis does. But for some reason, it's effective. Also, he can widen the corner by playing a little bit sharper. So even though it's diagonal, it's still not really in the racket of the opponent. And the quality by which his backhand or his forehand, by which they arrive, it's very hard to control, even if it just falls right in front of you. What I also find about his game is about Lebrun is that his short forehand is not really a big weapon. I mean, it's under control and he has a lot of ways to vary this, but it's more a setup in his game. Like for example, his flick forehand or his push long to backhand or something, it's okay, but it's not really something with which he can win a point. It's something which sets him up for his next shot, and then he will kill the ball. Like for example, this one here. You see, he will receive short, and which is quite okay, but because he moves back so quickly and in such a good way, he's already ready for this long push in the middle, and then yeah, this his first ball is very dangerous, very dangerous. Here, there, but and it's also so unpredictable where this first ball is going to go, because the swing, it's quite big, but still it's not telegraphed in a way. It's not telegraphed, meaning that you cannot see until the very last moment where the ball is going. And again, the variation in serve, it's quite pressing for Fan Zhendong, because he wants to develop a certain rhythm in this match, but he cannot, because for example, also here, just he wanted to come in. He wasn't ready for the long serve. And this is something I really want you guys to pay attention to. This receive here, this short forehand in the beginning of the second set. You'll see, which I think it's so underused. Honestly, it's ridiculous. If you just push long to your opponent, and if your opponent has a first ball which is quite good, or for which he's ready, then it's not of any advantage for you to push long. But there are so many ways upon which you can improve your long receive, even if it's a passive receive, you know. I mean, it can play to your advantage. Let's say you wait last minute to go long, like you feint going short, and then just at the very last moment you go long. This is a bit of the opposite way, you know. Here, Alexi, I'll show you in a minute. He will take the ball when it's rising, so like just after the bounce, then push it long, but without a lot of rotation or a lot of spin, so it's quite dead. So it's more of a shove than a push, if you know what I mean. Also, it arrives, you know, the receive is very deep. It's very much at the end of the table, which forces Van Zhendong, you know, to be a little bit surprised, to fall a little bit back. And this is a great setup for Lebrun to then come in with the counter spin. So let's look at the point. See how far at the end of the table it was. Look, the receive bounced almost at the white line, at the end of the white line. And then you see Van Zhendong really cannot do much, but because it's Van Zhendong, I mean, obviously it's still not going to be a terrible ball. But Lebrun was ready for being aggressive on the shot afterwards. And it's also something I think a lot of Chinese players do, but because they wait just a little bit longer and they don't take it immediately after the bounce, it's not that much of an advantage for them. But obviously, still, I mean, they're quite good in their transition from passive to aggressive. But I think they could capitalize a little bit more on this. Some players can, because if you wait too long before you push long, and your opponent is seeing that you want to push long, then you lose this element of surprise that you can get with a long push. Also, Alexei knows to set himself up very well after a long serve. Like you see here, he is almost everywhere on the table, so no matter where the ball will come after his long serve, he'd be ready to respond and play a very aggressive shot. There he didn't step over the table enough, so he was a little bit too far back, which made him lose a little bit of control over the receive. So if he had taken just a small step more, you see how far back he is for. Okay, even though the serve was half long, it was not short. He still should have taken one more extra step and put himself a little bit closer to the ball, which would have given him more control. Yeah, okay, that was a very good receive there, where because it was this far in the short forehand that he had to take this extra step, and then he fell on the flick forehand. But otherwise, I'm quite convinced that Lebrun's flick forehand is something which he can improve upon, meaning that he has a way to place the ball right, but being really aggressive with the shot is something I don't think is an opportunity for him at the moment. And you'll see also now, because I think it was 6-1 or 6-2 this set for Lebrun, and now it's 9-7, excuse me. Many points were that Van Zhendong won. He had to take the initiative first. Like this one, okay, he lost a point here. He is really struggling when Alexis is opening the rally. Compared to when he's starting with a first ball or with whatever, then he has taken the advantage in this set at least. I was a bit lucky. The receive of Alexis was half long, and he was a little bit surprised. Van Zhendong could have started the rally there. That's what I was talking about before. This long push that a lot of Chinese players use, it's quite effective. And Fan Zhendong is really an expert with this, that he waits until the last moment and decides where he wants to go, if he wants to go short, if he wants to go long, half long, whatever direction he wants to push to. So if you notice here how Alexis is completely taken off guard. See, he was totally surprised that the ball came long in the backhand, and that's why he had to just give it back, and which gave an incredible opportunity to Fan Zhendong. And now he wants to do it a bit. He's a bit too eager with this. See, and there you have the continuous variation again by Lebrun. I mean, it's so difficult to get into a rhythm as an opponent, because every time he's starting from a different position on the table. Like for example, now he served from the forehand side, otherwise he can serve from the backhand side more often, or his toss is a little bit higher, or the place he serves to, or the rotation he serves with. It's always something quite different, and it's very hard to adapt to. And what I think also is it puts a lot of pressure on you, the opponent, for your serves, because there's so little room for error to lose points on serve, because you know how much pressure he gives when he serves. See, this ball, for example, you see how Fan Zhendong is disappointed by himself, because it's quite an easy mistake, but I think he feels the pressure that he needs to win 70 or 80% of the points on his serve. And again, the flick forehand of Alexis, I think it really is it's good that they switched the angle, because I'll show in another video, maybe if I put it out by now you will see a link on the screen, but I'll show in another video how a correct flick forehand is to be done, and how you have to guide your racket over the ball. And if you look at how his wrist is moving, it's a little bit to the side instead of over the ball. It's a little bit this way, and it's a bit too rigid, too fixed on these balls where they're half high. He cannot really capitalize on those. Yeah, that was just a really good shot. But there again, he falls so far behind, I feel, and it just looks like a total loss of control in his body, but he manages to find a good feeling for this. And he still keeps a lot of control in the ball nevertheless. See, again, a different serve, another toss. And if he would do this 10 times in a row, it would not be special anymore. But because it's just, maybe it's like the second time maybe he would have done the serve in a match, it's just so difficult. Just so difficult as a receiver to be able to know what's coming. Yeah, he's really taking advantage of this ball down the line now. Fan Zhendong is really not ready. Because it's also such a hard shot to do. A counterspin backhand down the line is quite rare. Obviously he's one of the top players in the world, so you can expect a little bit more of what he can do. But still, it's quite a risky shot, no matter who takes it. 2-1 for Lebrun. If he knows what's coming, or he has not the slightest clue that he needs to step in, then it's quite risky to go for a long push against Fan Zhendong. Yeah, I don't know what the serve is. I have no idea, no clue what the serve is. It's just so effective because it's not a serve on its own. It's built into a certain system where every serve is just different. I repeated already a couple of times, but I mean, this is just worth mentioning because, I mean, it really doesn't look like a good serve at all. But the receive on itself, it was not anything great. Lebrun, he could have done a lot with it, but he made a simple mistake. Also, I feel like this match has very few rallies, which I think is quite a testament to how uncomfortable they are with each other's playing styles. If you take a match between two Chinese players or the Lebrun brothers, for example, and you see how much the ball goes back and forth. But between them, also because if I'm not wrong, it's their first time playing. It's just very hard to get used to each other in the first match. So it's quite normal that the rallies don't go on for that long. This is such a difficult serve. This I really have to give credit to, because it doesn't really just come into the backhand, it comes besides your body. Plus it's with topspin and side spin, so oftentimes I think people who get caught by surprise, they will play this ball over the table. Plus there's not much you can do besides playing diagonal, so I'll replay the point now. You'll see that Lebrun almost immediately is waiting for stepping around. Okay, he missed the ball, but normally it's a great setup. See there. And again, the flick forehand, I think there are some technical improvements which he can make, but it's not super crucial for his game. So I don't think it's that urgent. Like here, okay, because the ball was high, he could punish this, but when there's not that great of quality, but at the same time it's something which you feel that you can take advantage on, then with these balls where they're just like, let's say 5 centimeters over the net, he doesn't really use this to his advantage. Like for example this one, okay, maybe he didn't want to flick, but the receive was quite high. Let's pause it at the highest point. I mean, it doesn't really look like a very low short push, you know. That's just a really good receive. You know, always it's kind of a gamble if you think the ball is coming half long or not. Van Zhendong was not really paying enough attention anymore to the danger of him being able to step around. Or if I'll just go back to the point before. Yeah, here we are. Yeah, that serve is quite deep. It's quite a deep serve. I don't think this one was short even. So that's why I think in the back of his mind, Lebrun was already thinking that, okay, I have to maybe let him know that he cannot keep serving half long anymore. He's very quick stepping around this middle or going for a full step around, you know. Lebrun is really there almost immediately, and he really decides wherever he wants to go. And before we continue with the final set, I think it should be important to notice how many times Van Zhendong plays a long serve compared to Lebrun playing a long serve. I think maybe I'll just, why not just replay the set, you know, and I'll keep a counter on the screen, and that way we can compare how many times. Because I don't know if it's the refusal of wanting to take an extra risk with the long serve, or because it's something which Chinese players are not used to, or which Chinese players don't really have that much of a game plan for after a long serve. But I mean, for Lebrun, it's completely his playing style. It's his whole system of keeping the serve varied and doing something different with each and every serve. So we'll just see how the set plays out. And with long serves, obviously, I don't mean half long serves like the one we discussed before, you know, like the one that's coming up now. I'm really talking about the full surprise long serve. Okay, here we are again. See, now this one he missed. It was a long serve, but I think Van Zhendong was not completely ready. But okay, it's a hypothetical point, so there's not really much for me to say about this. Well, the receive was not good enough. It was really not good enough. I mean, Van Zhendong could have done more on this one, but he let it drop, so even then, Lebrun still had a small opportunity. But that's what I mean with Lebrun pushing his butt back a bit too much when playing this counterspin backhand sometimes. For example, this ball, he was out of position a little bit, and he touched the ball way too much in front of him. That's when your backhand goes out. Wait, I'll show it again. Now, his position is not really stable enough, I feel. If he could be more upright, I think it would be a great improvement for him. Then again, I'm just sitting in my room here and he's being number 10, 15 in the world, and I'm not. Yeah, he wants to do a little bit too much with his backhand at the moment. Again, you don't see many rallies in this match, but I think because neither player wants to give the advantage back to the other one by just playing a passive block. Long serve. Long serve. Again, a good opportunity though for Lebrun to play a counterspin on this one, but he barely missed it. But you see, I'm yet to see a long serve in this set from Van Zhendong. He's not doing it anymore. Whereas in the rest of the match, he was serving long from time to time, and it also caught Lebrun by surprise a few times. And there again, I think it's the third serve already, which was long in the set. I mean, the counter you can count for yourself, so I could be wrong. Yeah, that was just very, very well awaited. That's a risk when you open the game against Lebrun with not enough quality. You can get these counter spins from back and then for forehand. Ooh, yeah, that shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't have happened. This is a good serve, this sharp serve. He already had played this one a few times, and a few times Van Zhendong struggled with this because there's not much you can do with this one. And he wants to do it again. I'll just pause quickly. From this point, you cannot do a lot. I mean, obviously at 2-8-9, it's not the moment to try a roller around the net, but the opportunities you have, they're quite little. You cannot easily receive short. You cannot play this flick with a lot of quality because also the ball comes quite low. So if you want to open the game, it's going to be diagonal, and that's why a lot of players who do this serve, they're just waiting to step around and play a counter spin. But now I think he's going to switch up. He's going to serve short in forehand in some way, or not. See, a long serve at 9-8 in the deciding set against the world number 1. He's 18, 19 years old and he does this kind of stuff. A lot of players his age, they don't do this stuff and they resort in these moments back to just one serve, two serves. So he just keeps taking these risks, which is part of the reason of his success and also the success of his brother. They just keep playing their game and they don't hold back in crucial moments. Close. Oh, that was lucky. That was lucky, but okay. I mean, it's a deserved win. It really is a deserved win. So there you go. He's just really an unbelievable player, and I want to make a more in-depth video of him and his brother and what my opinions on the reasons of their success is. But I can tell you something about it in short. Is just I played Lebrun a few years back, like 4 years ago in 2019, I think. That was also the time when he was coming off some injuries and just trying to put everything together. But even back then, he was always trying this weird stuff and strange serves and strange receives. But nothing was working because he didn't have this rhythm at the time. And maybe also not the confidence to really believe that he could do this kind of stuff. So everything was just not coherent. And now, when he's doing these strange variations in receive, in serve, or in the rally with the chop blocks or the change of pace and with just everything, now it's working. It's working now. I mean, it became a well-rounded system because he had the time to put this together. I want to make another video on this, and over time it will come out, because I think there's a lot to learn from both players and also from some other players about the effectiveness of playing your own way and not just adhering to the norm That's why I think it would be an interesting video. But already in this match you can see a lot of this. You can see, you know, every serve, just every serve, it's something different from the serve before, and it just makes it so difficult for Fan Zhendong to get into a rhythm, to know how he's going to receive or what he wants to do, because you cannot plan ahead. You cannot plan ahead as an opponent with someone in front of you who is playing just 300 different serves in a match. It's very difficult. So I think, guys, yeah, that was a video. So if you enjoyed it and if you want to see more, then stay tuned. And I think I want to do a lot more of these sort of match analysis. Also, I really do encourage people who watch this match and have some opinions or some questions or don't agree with what I necessarily have said, then please leave a comment. I really encourage the discussion which can come from these types of videos. And that's the only way sometimes you can learn, by asking questions or having debates. And leave a comment if you don't agree, or if you liked it, also leave a comment. I really appreciate the feedback. So hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video.